Hi, okay. I want to read you this article about the pattern of autism in transgender youth. And I also wanted to show you, first of all, I haven't showered, okay? So I just wanted to, let y'all enjoy that. And I want to be on camera during like unflattering times so y'all know, what a real woman looks like. Anyway, remember when I was rolling yarn? Here's one of the yarn balls for my other videos. I rolled some yarn in them. Actually, in one of them, I'm not even knitting the scarf yet, but I just rolled the yarn into the ball. So it's ready to knit. I was telling you I'm doing these on one set of needles. I don't know if I can finish them on one set of needles, but like it's working so far. Look at this. We got this one. It's you know what I'll do? I will put the pictures up of the yarn that the colors of yarn, the yarn that these scarves are coming from. I'll put the pictures up of them on my Instagram knit piano camera. So this one is warm colors. It makes me think of, isn't this so pretty? It makes me think of like fruit, like tropical fruit. Like seriously, it's so beautiful. So we have this one, and this one's gonna be go from orange to kind of a magenta to a red, then back to magenta, then back to orange, then back to yellow, then back to this pink. So that color is next. Okay, and then this one though, this one's a rainbow one. But it's not 11 colors like my other current rainbow scarf. This one's only 9, but it's very beautiful. So I'm on to indigo slash blue with this one. And here's the yarn ball now. Doesn't that look like a little like earth? I think it's cool. Anyway, so I want to talk to you about I got a comment because I mentioned offhandedly how transgender is often linked to autism. So I found a really great article about it. It's by, I'll leave a link below. Don't even worry, I'll leave a link below. But a disproportionate number of autistic youth are transgender. Why? Gender specialists first noticed decades ago that a large number of people who seek treatment for gender dysphoria also seem to have autistic traits. Research on this phenomenon goes back to at least the 1990s, when the first case study of an autistic child with gender dysphoria, then called gender identity disorder, was published, as studies investigated the co-occurrence or correlation. It's a little bit more than a correlation, but okay. Between gender dysphoria and autism spectrum disorder, ASD, have trickled in. There is a growing consensus in the medical community that the two do co-occur at disproportionate rates. This consensus is based on numerous studies reporting that gender dysphoric youth are more likely to be autistic than would be expected based on autism rates in the general population. This may also hold true for adults, although the research on adults is sparser. This co-occurrence has implications of the treatment of both gender dysphoria and autism in young people and hints at connection between the biological causes of both transgender identity and autism spectrum disorder. Gender dysphoria is the feeling of incongruence between the sex assigned at birth and the gender a person identifies with. Many people who experience gender dysphoria identify as transgender. Some trans people fit into the gender binary, because there's not a gender binary, there's a sex binary. But okay, in the case of trans men and trans women, while others identify as gender nonconforming or non-binary, meaning they fall somewhere between the or outside the main man-woman divide. We have enough evidence across multiple studies internationally to say that autism is more common in gender-diverse youth than in the general population, said John Strang, a neuropsychologist and founder of the Gender and Autism Program at Children's National Health System in Washington. Strang authored as a 24 analysis that found that more than 5% of autistic youth sampled for his study also displayed some level of desire to be the other gender, the other sex is what they fucking meant to say. According to parental reports, he cautioned that it's too soon to say what the exact percentage in the overall population may be. Another widely referenced study found that 7.8% of young people being treated for gender dysphoria at a clinic in Amsterdam had confirmed diagnosis of ASD. That's really high. Okay, and that's just the confirmed diagnosis. That's not the actual diagnosis. There's probably more. It's probably higher than that. But that's the confirmed amount. These studies seem to support the hypothesis that transgender identities are rooted in biology, which would be true, actually, if it were linked to autism, okay, and not this bullshit made-up science internet crap that Gigi Gorgeous talks about. Transgender identities are rooted in biology, especially when combined with other studies pointing to a strong heritable component of transgender identity. A biological basis for transgender identity is still highly contested, although the science has been pointing toward that explanation for several years because it's connected to autism. Not any other bullshit they fucking make up. Hello. Anyway, researchers believe that autism itself is highly heritable, so a link between autism and gender identity could even provide some direction for researchers hunting for genes associated with transgender identity. Okay, before I carry on, the person I mentioned in my peak trans story, I'm pretty sure she was autistic. Okay? Seriously. I really think that she was. I think that she, just, I mean, that would explain her fucking freak out on me. Do you notice how these transgender people freak out for real? Throw a fit for real when they're misgendered? That's because a lot of them are autistic. That's because a lot of them are angry about the fact that you're not seeing that a man is wearing a dress, so he's clearly a female. He's clearly transgender, identifying as female, or this woman who's wearing, men's clothes, which there's no such thing as men's clothes, but like, they freak out too. And I mentioned that in another one of my videos that, a woman freaked out because she was misgendered. Somewhere I used to work because her legal governmental identification had her birth sex, which was female. That's why I said that in that other recent video about it being linked to autism, because I truly believe that it is. I was gonna say something else about it being linked. Oh yeah, so one of my commenters actually one of my fucking brilliant commenters, because I love y'all. I'm pretty sure she commented on my shaving story, about how she was like, well, maybe these, she just said how she thought that transgender females are actually autistic, and I think she's right, because when you're autistic, you literally cannot deal with things that physically that you don't want to. Like, plenty of women will wear uncomfortable heels because they're good looking, right? Because they think they look good in them. Or plenty of women wear, and I'm guilty of this. I wore really fucking uncomfortable clothes when I was a hop, okay? Because they were cute. But I didn't care because I looked good, but, eventually I was like, okay, I just can't wear this because it's so fucking annoying to wear. But, like, I could wear uncomfortable clothes. I can wear uncomfortable clothes. But I don't anymore because I don't purposely make myself uncomfortable. But, like, autistic people cannot deal with uncomfortable clothes. They literally cannot wear them. They will throw a fit. Or they cannot do something like shave because it's so uncomfortable for them. Shave their legs. Or, I don't shave my legs because I'm a real woman, okay? And not because I'm autistic. But anyway, hey, but if I was, I wouldn't care. So I'm just saying, like, but do you see how predatory this is towards autistic people? And the other fact of the matter is that, like, autistic people are very, like, they're very, 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 very consumed with rules. They're very interested in rules. They want people to obey the rules, right? And the rules of society generally are that only women wear dresses in the United States of America, and men don't wear dresses, right? So if you want to wear dresses and you're a man, they think you need to be a woman. An autistic transgender person would think that you need to be a woman in order to wear what you want to wear. Or, it goes the same as with fucking stereotypes. If you don't want to be all these stereotypically associated traits of feminine or masculine and you're autistic, what are you going to do? I heard about a teacher at an elementary school. This is true, okay? Don't ask me how I know this, but I know that this happened. I'm sorry, this is upsetting to me, but so I heard about a teacher at an elementary school who taught her fucking first grade class all about transgender bullshit, which is way too fucking young. You should not be teaching that shit to children. Be like, oh, you can just decide what sex you are. You can just decide what gender you are. Fuck you. For real. That is messed up. But anyway, she taught this shit to her first grade class, okay? And at the end of the first grade class, at the end of this teaching session, there was one autistic girl in the class. And she decided, after having been taught that she wanted to be called a boy name. And that she wanted to use he, him pronouns. That's what teaching kids this bullshit does, is it makes them, I'm gonna get back to the article, maybe, but like, the personal experiences, endless personal experiences I've had with trans people, that my friends have had with trans people, a lot of this is, I'm actually wearing a really cool shirt. Let me wear it. Let me show y'all. This is a cool shirt. Anyway, but like a lot of them are in fact autistic, right? A lot of them are in fact dealing with mental issues that often go undiagnosed. People who are autistic often go undiagnosed, but they're super, consumed with these societal rules that they want to follow. I was friends with a Tim for a while. Even after I was a radical feminist, I met him after I became a radical feminist, but we were hanging out and we were friends. I just didn't tell him exactly how I felt. I didn't tell him that that I was a radical feminist. I thought that we could just be friends, and we were for a while. But we were for a while, but he said a lot of really fucking sexist shit to me, to my face. Like, I shaved my head a few years ago, and when he saw me, he was like, I thought you would start liking girls after you shaved your head. Hashtag sexist. It's hashtag sexist to assume that a bald woman would just immediately change her, like, sexual identity based upon her haircut. I mean, I like men and women, okay, but I've not yet had the opportunity to actually be with a woman seriously, so y'all get at me. But, yeah, and she said all kinds of other sexist shit. Like, she was saying that, like, the nurse in that show, Nurse Jackie, pissed her off because she wasn't feminine. Like, all this fucking random weird ass bullshit that, like, upset her. And I'm like, anyway, let's get back to the article. Okay. On the other hand, it's possible that autism is overrepresented among trans youth because autistic people are less concerned with social norms and less likely to bow to social pressures that keep other trans people from coming out. Yeah, my former friend who's trans that I talk about in my Peak Trans story, She didn't shower a lot when we were teenagers. Like, really, like, she would hardly shower. That's a really autistic trait. Our ability to study gender dysphoria and diversity is limited by the fact. Okay, wait, I skipped a. No, that's right. Our ability to study gender dysphoria and diversity is limited by the fact that there are such strong social pressures starting in early childhood to conform to gendered expectations. Yeah, that's because of sexist parents. There's no way of knowing how many people hide their transgender identity, so we can't know for sure whether studies of openly transgender people are representing the full picture at this time. Yeah, I'm so sick of that bullshit. Like, at that training I mentioned in Liberal Laws Lobotomized, when that guy was like, well, you don't even know if people are transgender or not. Oh my God, I don't care. I don't care. Because I know I'm a woman, and I know these other women are women, and I know y'all are men. And that's a biological reality. What are we going to do about that? Fucking moron. One common characteristic of autism is that autistic people often may have what's called over-focused interest in subjects that are dear to them. At least one researcher has suggested that autistic people's gender dysphoria is really an over-focused interest in gender, but the majority of professionals who work with this population disagree that this theory is sufficient to explain the co-occurrence. More than 20 of these experts worked together on a paper providing clinical guidelines to help address the needs of patients with both autism and gender dysphoria, and they found that autism should not preclude a diagnosis of gender dysphoria or prevent a patient from accessing transition-related medical care. Should we be... Hold on. Okay, so these people are likely often autistic. Should we be giving people with autism life-altering plastic surgery that they cannot undo? Should we be giving them these experimental drugs like Lupron and testosterone and estrogen? Should we? Is that a good idea? I know the answer is no. Like, this is conversion therapy. This is fucking, like, do y'all know that in Iran you can't be gay? You can't be gay. You get a fucking governmentally funded sex change operation if you're found out to be gay. It's gay conversion. They would rather have you appear to be the opposite sex, appear more to be the opposite sex, than be your actual sex. You can't be gay. You can be transgender, but you can't be gay. This concerns me. It should concern other people too. Certainly you can find cases of kids for whom some aspect of autism seems to be driving gender dysphoria. But over time, we're seeing that a good number of neurodiverse teens coming into gender clinics truly are transgender or gender diverse. I don't understand how people don't see that this is, like, incredibly sexist. It is incredibly sexist to say, oh, like, this woman who only wears pants and likes to chop wood in the forest and do all these other stereotypically male activities is gender diverse? No. No. Terry says she's gender defiant. I'm with that. Say gender defiant instead of saying gender diverse or gender non-conforming, because when you say gender non-conforming, that means that it's better to conform to gender norms. But if you're gender defiant, then you're defying that bullshit. Okay, one practical outcome of this research is that clinicians are recommending that autistic youth should be screened for gender dysphoria, and that clinics that work with gender dysphoric youth should screen clients for autism as well. Yeah, they should. What a great idea. Young people who are found to have both need individualized, compassionate care, and they and their families also need to know that they are not alone. Strong caution that ASD should not be viewed as a negative for transgender people. because the ability to ignore social pressure can be very freeing for this group. Autistic people may be more bold and individualistic, less swayed by social expectations. Some of the frontline leaders of the trans rights movement have been trans and autistic, and there's a beautiful focus for many of them on being themselves and not bonding to social expectations of what others expect them to be. Yeah, wouldn't it be great if they could do those things and not be given these drugs and not be told, oh yeah, you need to be transgender. Oh yeah, you need to be the opposite sex. You need to adhere to stereotypes. Hello. See this is awesome. That means I'm smart, obviously. Got the crown chakra all up in there. Okay, but so hold on. I was upset by this. Strong caution that autistic spectrum disorder should not be viewed as a negative for transgender people because the ability to ignore social pressure can be very freeing for this group. Okay, but why can't they just ignore social pressure and be themselves? Why do they need these invasive drugs and surgeries? Why? Okay. Reed Kaplan, a transgender man who works for I don't think I'm going to read this because I don't want to talk about this person because I feel bad talking about people, who have been fucking taking advantage of. There are pictures of me being taught to play with dolls as part of my therapy, and needless to say, I'm not looking very happy in those pictures. Okay. Playing with dolls. I don't know why people are taking children's words as law. Like, children say all kinds of things like, I don't like playing with dolls. Yo, I didn't fucking like playing with dolls. At all. I have y'all seen Talkie Tina? The fucking Twilight Zone episode? Yeah, no. Dude, I saw that as a kid, and I never liked dolls after that. Okay? I love stuffed animals, but I didn't like playing with dolls. But I was really girly as a kid. Honestly, I was. Like, I did really, like, girly shit all the time. Okay? But that didn't make me fucking trans. Like, why are we teaching this to our youth, is my point. Why are we teaching this bullshit to our youth? And then they're taking it the wrong way because they're kids and they don't understand what these things mean. They get it that, like, well, you know what? It's not fucking hard to see that being a female in this society sucks. So it would be pretty easy, therefore, for a child to be like, I don't want to grow up to be a woman because misogyny, but they probably don't know the word misogyny. What am I going to do? Become a man. With invasive drugs that will kill me, and I will be more likely to kill myself afterwards. That's bad. That's a bad thing, okay? Am I gonna read any more of this? There are also therapies around clothing, helping autistic kids get accustomed to wearing different clothing, and often that centers on a skirt or a dress for a girl and a suit for a boy. Okay, well, that's actually good, because I was just saying, autistic people cannot deal with certain clothes a lot of the time. Regardless of whether that child is trans, there shouldn't be any emphasis on gender role for any of the therapies for autistic youth. What's really great about this, and what I would love to fucking thank autistic people for, is, like, they understand this bullshit, and they understand that it's bullshit, right? They're incredibly, so many of them are incredibly logical, and they see this bullshit for what it is, and they don't have, because they're not working with the same exact brain as a neurotypical person, they don't have the the ways to maneuver about that, but they're also not taught that. If we taught autistic people radical feminism, like, they would get it. And I saw a really cool video of a woman who actually was autistic that was transitioning, but she stopped because she fucking found radical feminism. And she was like, oh, this actually makes sense, and I don't need to transition anymore. Hello? Okay, I think that's all I want to say in this video. I don't think I even want to fucking keep reading this article. But I will leave a link down below so y'all can read it, but like just know that transgenderism is often probably connected to autism. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, link below. Bye.